Welcome back to College Football Addiction. I've got Jay from the Prime Time for College Football on with us tonight. Going to talk a little Coach Prime, a little bowl game, a little chance at a 10-win season, a little Colorado Buffalo, just all the things Colorado. Get a little bit of an update on what's going out there in Boulder. Jay, how you doing, bud?
Doing good, TJ. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm just watching you blow up over on the Prime Time for College Football. People got to go check that out. If you're a Colorado, we usually save this for the end, but if you're a Colorado fan, y'all are about to hit 30,000. 30,000 by the bowl game? Can we do that? 30,000 by Christmas? Can we get there?
Let's go, man. 600 more. Right about there, man. It's growing. It's growing a lot.
Yeah, go check them out. I will link a Primetime for College Football video at the end of this. So if you want more of Jay's content, you can go check that out. You're doing a great job over there, man, and it's fun to watch that thing blow up. It was fun to watch Colorado in a good way. I almost said it was fun to watch Colorado blow up, but that kind of sounds negative. But it was fun to watch everything kind of blow up in a good way for Colorado this year. I know they barely missed percentage points, missed the Big 12 championship, but they were right there. Essentially qualified a first place tie in the Big 12. Just didn't get in because a bunch of teams were at one record. But overall. How much did Colorado exceed your expectations this year?
They actually hit my expectations. When I did my prediction at the beginning of the season, I said that Colorado would finish 9-3. Now, the 3 losses were not the 3 losses that I had picked because I did not think Oklahoma State was going to be as garbage as they were. Did think that Kansas was going to be a challenge, but I thought they would win that one. Nebraska, I thought they would win that game, but they didn't. I thought UCF was going to be more of a challenge, and they were not. So when I went back and looked over the entire season assessment, I was like, dang, this team actually, the Kansas State loss was not what I had predicted as well. So it wasn't in those prediction stocks, but I said before the season started, I see 9-3, and I see a chance to go play for the Big 12 championship game, and boom. Here we are. Coach Prime put together something that nobody even expected. A lot of people doubted that Prime could go and double their win again. TJ, they doubled their win 2 years in a row.
Well, don't say nobody expected it because I just gave you a chance to take a victory lap and you took it, admittedly so.
Yeah,
but somebody expected it. You expected it.
Yeah, I did.
I'll pat you on the back if you won't. But no, yeah, another reason to maybe go follow the Prime Time for College Football. What about we'll talk about the bowl here in a minute, but how high are Travis and Shedeur going to get drafted?
Oh, top 5. I'm expecting both of them to finish top 5, no problem. If not 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, I expect them to be drafted within a pick of each other very easily. They're the 2 top players in the draft. Like Travis Hunter is getting nothing but praise from not only NFL players, but NFL staff members. You're seeing them write articles and talking about his ability at wide receiver and corner. I've heard NFL dudes, Patrick Surtain II even said, I think he can play both sides of the ball here at the NFL. I think he's got that gene, that skill set. Plus the dude's addicted to football. Man, that's all he does. Football, little video game in here, but football. And that's what you want. You want a guy that's going to be so dedicated to the game that they can go ahead and find that edge that other players don't have. Travis Hunter has that gene. And Shedeur Sanders is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Like, there's a lot of arguments that can be made, man, but the man threw for 3,900 yards. He's up, I think he was like 3rd in yards passing, like 2nd in touchdowns on the season. Like, how do we go up against what he did and say that, he's all right? The dude was 3rd in yards, and he's up there in touchdowns. I think he was second right behind Cam Ward at 35 touchdowns. The Cam Ward's 36. He put up all the numbers and only threw 8 interceptions, TJ.
Yeah.
He put them up. 74% completion percentage, which leads the country if you have minimum snap numbers. What more could you ask for? Graham Mertz is the only person with a better percentage than him, and he didn't play. He had less than 100 attempts.
Yeah, got hurt pretty early.
He got hurt. So what argument do we have more against Shedeur? He technically leads the country in completion percentage. The man had a killer season, and it was everything I expected was going to happen. If anything, I was surprised about TJ. Pat Shermer did a hell of a lot job better than I expected him calling plays. The offense just looked good.
Offense was on fire. Defense played much better this year. Maybe the only people that weren't as impressed with Shedeur as everyone else was the Heisman committee, the Heisman voters. And a little surprised he's not in New York, or was it the 9-3 record, or is it 2 players on one team, or what are the thoughts? Is it the fact that he plays alongside Travis Hunter? Like, why is he not there this weekend?
I would love for somebody to tell me it was the 9-3 record. Cam Ward got in there at 10-2. That's not too far off from each other. And again, the statistics are right there. Now, Cam, it had more passing yards and touchdowns, but it was by like 1 and then like 200 yards or something. It's not that far off from each other, even though I'm going to pull this up real quick and look. When you look at the yards comparison, Cam Ward had 4,100 yards passing, Shedeur Sanders 3,900 yards passing. 1 touchdown difference. So they're not far off, but Shedeur sure did throw for 74%, where Cam Ward was at 67. The man got snubbed. He probably deserved to be up there too. Dylan Gabriel leading the team undefeated. Yeah, you got to add him, but he only had 28 touchdowns as well. If anything, we know it's between Ashton Jeanty as well as Travis Hunter, but man, Shedeur got snubbed. He should definitely be in New York, standing up there at the podium with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, clapping when Travis wins it. I don't see any way that doesn't happen. That's just my take. We'll see. You guys can old takes expose this if I'm wrong. But yeah, I do think Travis ends up winning this thing on Saturday night. I'm really not that worried about people clipping it either. I feel fairly confident in this one. So what about looking forward? And well, let me ask you about the bowl. An interesting matchup, right, against 2 Big 12 teams. Obviously, the Pac-12 tie-in had something to do with this, and we've talked a lot about realignment, and this is not a side effect, but just a cause from that. BYU certainly ended the year on a different trajectory than Colorado did, right? And Colorado seemed to be peaking at the right time, and BYU kind of going the other direction.
Yep.
Is it a little bit impressive to you that it sounds like everybody's going to play in this thing for Colorado?
Hey, Coach Prime said that. He said that they were going to finish and they're going to complete the job. They made a commitment. They're going to play and finish the job. And that's the one thing I appreciate most about Coach Prime is he's a man of his word, and he gives his word to these players. The players give their word to him, and he holds them accountable for it. So the fact that he said, sure, Shedeur, Travis may go win the Heisman. He should win the Heisman, but we won't get too far into that. He playing in his bowl game, though. Shedeur, he playing in this bowl. All of my guys will be playing. The ones that are on this roster will be playing in this bowl game. And I appreciate the fact that the players respect him enough to say, yeah, coach, we're going to be there. We're going to play in that bowl. That way, we live up to the commitment that we made. So it doesn't throw off the structure going forward. Now, everybody on this roster knows if you're going to play to the end of the season with Coach Prime, you will be playing in the bowl game. Don't care if it's the Alamo Bowl. Don't care if it's the playoffs. You will be playing, and I like the fact that that's how he's running things.
Pretty unusual for guys that are drafted that high. We see first-round picks all the time not play. Guys that are going to be drafted in the 20s or even high second round. And every kid can do what they want, right? Like I'm not disparaging anybody. I completely understand protecting your investment that you're about to make. So I have no problem with any kid that decides to do that. But incredibly rare that 2 top 5 picks would do it. And then everybody else on the roster too. I'm not trying to minimize anybody else, but for those guys to do it, it really is pretty special. And it should make for a pretty fun game. We will certainly get you back on before that December 28th matchup. We got a couple of weeks before we get there. Current news, but also looking ahead to the future. Just thoughts overall on what Coach Prime is selling. Obviously all the talk was, he's just gonna bounce, right? Like this is his son and his boys and then he's out of here. But yeah, I think they're going to clean up in the portal. They had the second best recruiting class in the Big 12. I think they're about to absolutely clean up in the portal. And for those expecting a drop off, like Coach Prime said, there's no way to replace Hunter and Sanders. You probably need 4 guys to replace each of them. Was what I think his quote was. All that said, for those expecting a drop off in the Big 12, I think Coach Prime is going to work his butt off over these next few weeks to make sure that doesn't happen.
One of the big appreciations I have for Coach Prime and him is that they're all leveraging relationships. And one of those relationships they have, Juju Lewis. So you got Julian Lewis, the 5-star quarterback, to commit. And just like you said, On3 had Colorado as the second highest rated recruiting class in the Big 12. And so that's a huge jump from a team that everybody was talking about. They're not recruiting any players. They don't have any high schoolers. Well, Prime has told you that. And Prime is basically advertised out there because he knows that any and everything he says goes viral. He told y'all, I'm going to be in that portal. Don't worry. I've already been in there as it is because he plans on leveraging the portal to fill every gap he needs and get those players that truly want to play and those that don't mind being coached really, really hard. He's 100% old school. So he's pulling kind of an NFL type of free agency mindset. He's going to get some young players out of the quote unquote draft or get some players to commit. But he's going to go to the transfer portal and find some dudes and say, hey, I've seen your tape. I know what you're capable of. I know do you want more opportunity and do you want to come ball? And they will. So I'm thinking that Caleb Hicks, the wide receiver from Alabama, probably will pull up. He was a tight end when he went as a recruit, but 6'5", about 230. He was going to move. They tried to. Came in as a tight end. They transitioned him to wide receiver. I think Caleb Odom is going to be a big one. They're going to pick up, and the reason why Caleb Odom is one because he was teammates with Julian Lewis over there at Carleton High School in Georgia, and so since they were teammates, good chance they bring him in. Yeah, also Jaheim Otis from Alabama, the big defensive lineman, 6'5", like 330 or 40 pound, big boy, and it appears that there's a couple of predictions saying that he's going to go to Colorado. I expect him to go ahead and go in, get you a big defensive lineman in preparation for next season. And so besides that, the Buffs are going to be bringing in a lot of kids, a lot of players from different backgrounds. And the one thing, Prime, I always tell you is if I'm bringing somebody in, I'm bringing them in because I believe they can play ball. I'm not bringing somebody in because I don't think that I bring in people I think can ball. And because of that, I see there's going to be some ballers in there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do in the portal. With the Big 12 really wide open next year, I mean, the goal has to be the same as this year, right? Like the goal has to be to go and compete for this thing, go out and find a way to win it against, again, a wide open field. I think Arizona State has some staying power. I think there are other teams that are going to be good. But the goal has to be to go out and win it, finish first again, get the tiebreakers right, which maybe you have control over, maybe you don't. But
Right.
Go win this thing and get to the playoff. And I cannot imagine what things will be like in Boulder if they're able to accomplish that. Because they were just a game away from it this year. But if they're able to do that, especially once Hunter and Sanders and some of these guys leave, it will be fever pitch out there.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be, definitely. And all the kids know they're going to get true opportunities. That's the one thing that you've heard a lot of players say, that even the ones transferred, they're happy and said, look, we, may not got the starting spot. I got to play a lot, so I had to leave out. But Prime didn't lie to me, and he gave me opportunity. He gave me the chance to play. I may not feel my side of it, but a lot of these kids recognize, no, Colorado's giving them true chances, and I'm going to definitely take advantage of it. So now that once Shadur's gone, Shiloh as well as Travis, you're going to see a big time jump in the talent trying to get in there. They'll play young guys. They'll play old guys. They play dudes that are ready to play. And that's the beauty of the way that he's running things, because that's what works.
Jay, we talked about it a little bit earlier. We tried to give you some love, but tell people again where they can follow you and where they can find your work, bud.
Yeah, you can find me over there at the Prime Time for College Football here on YouTube. TJ, thanks a bunch for having me again.
Yeah, you bet. Guys, I linked it right now. The video on the screen. Click it right now to go check out the Prime Time for College Football. Let's go get Jay to 30,000 before Christmas. It's a nice Christmas present. We appreciate you for hanging out with us, man. That's our Christmas present to you. The College Football Addiction is going to get you there tonight.
All right, let's go.